Welcome back, everybody, to Cash Only. This is I I am Jules.
and this is Connor.
So today we want to try something a little different. Every once in a while, there'll be some hot takes in the news that we just want to put our 2 cents in, talk about for maybe 5-10 minutes. Sometimes it'll be just me. Sometimes it'll be just Connor.
Right.
Sometimes you'll get a double shot, and it'll be me and Connor.
I like it.
We've been previously recording. So, Connor, today I wanted to chat a little bit about this idea of like a cryptocurrency shortage, right?
Mhm.
So apparently some cryptocurrency exchanges have been really struggling with keeping up with the new surge demand for cryptocurrency. There were reports, let me make sure I get this fact right. So there have been reports that exchanges have begun to run out of Ether, which for those of you who aren't aware is kind of like if Bitcoin was like the gold of cryptocurrency, I think most people consider Ether to be like the silver, the platinum.
Mhm.
There's debates on whether or not it's Ether
Hold on,
or
I
if
have to
it's
stop
like,
you there because some people might put platinum above gold, and silver is
well,
definitely below it.
it gets complicated, right? Anyway, Ethereum, it's like number 2 cryptocurrency. All right,
No,
let's
okay,
let's keep it at that.
that would be
So
silver, wouldn't it?
I don't
I
deal
don't
in
know if
precious
you've ever
metals.
seen the Olympics before.
I don't deal in precious metals or Olympics, so I am not the one to ask. But apparently, there's a huge shortage with. There's reports that some exchanges were beginning to run out of Ether, with some reserves plunging 27% within a 48-hour period. So some analysts actually predicted that that might be an indicator that there's a new all-time high in the works for Ethereum. So if you've been living under a rock, Bitcoin has miraculously doubled its previous all-time high and is now trading between 35 and like $40,000.
Which is
Ethereum,
insane. Because in March
yeah,
it sunk to like $5,000 or $6,000, and
yeah.
you told me to buy, and I was texting you when it kept going down.
Mm-hmm. But Ether has yet to reach its previous all-time high. So a lot of people are speculating that this drop in liquidity might make it more scarce and therefore mean that more people are going to want to purchase it. What do you think?
So you're the crypto expert, and as much as I know about crypto, it's definitely not in the realm of Ether or Ethereum. My question is, what does it mean when they're saying that it's running out? Because to run out of, like, can you explain the scarcity and how it came to be? Because this is something that's mined out of
Right. So there's a
ones
limited
and
amount.
zeros.
There's a limited amount, right? You can't just. So if you
Right.
think of like Bitcoin or most cryptocurrencies, right? There's a traditionally a set amount that you can that is available. It's not like fiat money where the government can just say, "Oh, let's just print a bunch of new, funds," right?
Sure.
So
And even doing
because
that would
of
not be necessarily good for the economy.
exactly, so because of this limited amount, right? If I'm an exchange, right, and I have a certain amount of reserves of Ethereum and Bitcoin, if people keep buying that and then taking it off the exchange,
Mm-hmm.
it's like somebody taking all the dollar bills out of my bank, right? Like at a certain point, I don't have anything to give people.
But that would be scarcity within the bank. That wouldn't mean the U.S. currency is scarce, right? So you're talking about scarcity within a specific exchange, not the Ethereum world universe. I don't know.
Exactly. But the
Okay.
issue is these cryptocurrency exchanges are where most people are getting their funds.
Mm-hmm.
So if all of the exchanges run out, meaning the only places where you can find like Bitcoin or Ethereum is in users, like people holding their private wallets. Where are you gonna buy it from?
I see. I see. So,
Right. So there's
right.
actually one cryptocurrency exchange, eToro. It's an Israeli exchange. They actually warned customers this week that they might start limiting their crypto buying if the current rate of demand and volatility continue. So they said, and I quote, the unprecedented demand for crypto coupled with limited liquidity presents challenges to our ability to support buy orders over the weekend. In light of this, it may be necessary for us to place limits on crypto buy orders over the weekend. So what they're basically saying is we have to limit the amount of crypto people can buy on our exchange, because if we don't, we're not going to have any crypto for people to buy.
How might that? How would that affect? So you said eToro is potentially doing this, whereas
Right.
say maybe Bitflyer is not. How would two exchanges? I mean, going back to the fiat example, if one bank has a limit and one bank doesn't, how would that affect the U.S. currency as a whole? You know, if one exchange
Right,
is
well,
doing this and say another like Bitflyer is not,
so it's
how
different,
would it
right? So
change Ethereum?
it makes it a little different than a bank, right? Because even though, for example, so they had to put a pause right on their like buy orders, so, or a limit, right? So that doesn't necessarily mean that eToro is running out of money. It means that so many people are buying a certain asset that they're running out of that asset, but they're trading it for another. So even though they are running out of like Ethereum, for example, if they're running out of Ether, if they have US dollars in place of that, this is an Israeli exchange, so probably not USD, but for example, all they need to do is use that USD that they, you know, traded for the Ethereum, and then just buy more from either a different exchange or from miners or what have you.
Okay. So
But
where
the
does an
issue is,
exchange
you know,
get
it
its
takes
money from?
What was that?
Where does an exchange get its assets from? Is it mining it or is it purchasing it as well?
Some exchanges can mine their own funds. Some exchanges will just buy it from miners, or people just trading it in for other ones. So people selling their Ethereum to the exchange. Yeah. So it's like, I want cash. Give me cash for my Bitcoin.
I see. Is what you're saying though. Go ahead. Sorry.
The thing is, if everybody's buying and nobody's selling, that's the issue that they're running into, right? Is there's more people wanting to buy than sell, which means their actual reserve of like Ether is running low. Right. And they, one of the ways they also tried to combat this was last week, this exchange, again, eToro, increased the minimum deposit amount from $250 to $1,000.
That's the minimum. So you have to put at least $1,000 in. Right,
to trade.
Can you explain how that would benefit the scarcity within the exchange? I'm not sure I understand.
You would have a lot. So what's happening is there's a bunch of people rushing to the exchange. So when you have like, I guess like thousands of people, and don't quote me on these numbers, but if you have thousands of people rushing to the exchange and they're all buying, you know, $250, $300, $400 worth of, you know, Bitcoin or Ethereum or what have you, it's going to start to add up, versus if you set limits where you need to have at least $1,000, you're not going to have as many people rushing and taking liquidity from your exchange. It's the same kind of way that like amusement parks work, and they meet, like Disneyland meets their prices, right? So if you look at like Disneyland, they've constantly been upping their ticket price. And a large reason is because they need to make sure there's crowd control, right? If their prices are too low, too many people are going to want to go, and it's going to overfill, and they're going to have to turn people away. Versus if they, you know, increase it to a certain amount, they'll reach like a nice equilibrium.
I see. There's so many questions I have about the ethics of doing that and restricting certain, you know, economic classes, but this isn't a happy hour. This is just a solo cup. So we'll save that for another time.
Well, I guess the biggest thing is like, what does this mean for the market as a whole, right? So if you continue with these trends, probably a really good thing. But it sucks because it's also, like you said, going to limit a lot of the people who can actually access these markets. And it almost feeds directly into the last bar chat we had about, you know, PlayStation 5s and whether or not like who can afford it.
Right, totally.
And is it fair for scalpers to, you know, increase the price because it limits who can actually access those assets?
Definitely.
It's the same thing here.
So is this overall, would you say this is beneficial, or is it, you know, deleterious to the Ethereum market? Because at the onset of the conversation, you'd mentioned this is going to increase scarcity, which is going to make it more valuable. So if you can get it on another exchange, and total disclaimer, we're not offering trading advice, but like, does that mean when we're seeing kind of the onset of more scarcity within Ethereum, is this a time to buy?
Right. So to be clear, the whole like liquidity issues on exchanges, that's Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Maybe a little less so Bitcoin, but the overall liquidity issues, that's definitely hitting Ethereum really hard. what this means for like the future of for cryptocurrency in general, I think it's good. It shows that there's a lot of people that are still really interested in it. I think the bull market is going to continue. Obviously there was that like really healthy correction, I think a few days or if not like a week ago, where it dropped like 30%, and it's already, you know, prices are already back to like where they were before that drop. So I definitely think long or short term, it's looking pretty good. I just think it sucks that it's really limiting the amount of people that can actually get into it. Like, is it fair that you need at least $1,000 to be able to make any kind of profit? Like, that seems kind of sucky. Right. And it limits it. It kind of goes into the whole like the poor stay poor and the rich get rich. The rich keep getting richer. You know, not that $1,000 is like by any means like makes you rich, but
it is limited to a lot of people, especially for something as I guess I was trying to find a better word than risky, but risky as cryptocurrency or volatile. Let's say volatile. That is limited to a lot of people who might want to invest in something like this. Jesus with the pickles.
You got to have the pickle juice, man. You got.
Dude, I don't know. I hope people have seen our old episodes from 2020 where you're drinking your pickle juice and just. You know.
I know. I think it's interesting. I would really love to know what our viewers all think, or our listeners. Do you own cryptocurrency? The questions I have for our listeners, right? One, do you own cryptocurrency? And if so, like why or why not? And two, what do you think of this whole like capping minimum deposits? Like, is it fair? Do you think it's gonna be beneficial or harmful for the crypto economy as a whole? And I guess three, do you want us to have more crypto related videos like this?
Definitely. That's very interesting though, and I'm excited. I'm curious to see how that will affect because you specified eToro in doing those things, and I wonder how that will affect other exchanges and then the Ethereum market at large. I guess
we'll see. I mean, I'm looking. I'm looking at the market right now, and it's at least today doing pretty well. I guess we can make a follow-up video in a week or two and see how everything ends up. Maybe all the exchanges will run out of cryptocurrency and
Bitcoin. Well, if every exchange is out of cryptocurrency, I don't know. I wonder what that would do. I don't know. Whatever. We have so many more episodes for hypotheticals of what happens if.
Right. Yeah. We should do a series, a what if series.
We could do a what if series. Speaking of series, if you're interested in this Ethereum, be sure to come back for Jules's. We'll be having a channel on Jules explaining cryptocurrency and how to trade. And I'm actually looking forward to that because we've been having a lot of conversations, and this actually reminds me of the last time we talked, where you were teaching me how to read a depth chart.
Right. Thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully
checking out our first solo cup.
Yeah, even though it wasn't very solo, I hope you still like the additional format, the fast-paced, quick news update.
Right on. Check us out. You can hit us up at our website at cashonlypod.com. We're on Twitter at cash_podcast. You can search us on Facebook just by putting in your search bar Cash Only Podcast or Cash Only Financial Crime Happy Hour. And join
the please feel free to leave comments on our YouTube videos. That's one of the best ways. We read all the comments. None of these videos are online yet, but I promise you when they are, we'll read all the comments.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot for checking in. Cheers to you. This has been Cash Only.
Peace.
Peace.